जो इंग्लिश में हिंदी में हाँ गुड मॉर्निंग टुडे आई एम गोइंग टू स्टार्ट चैप्टर 1 ज्योग्राफी as a standard 8 concerned to the online classes curriculums, and accordingly I think a standard 8 student of our institution who better understand about the matter concerned to the chapter 1. Today I am going to start the chapter of chapter 1 who indicate about the natural geography. We are already know before as geography as about the study of interior and exterior surrounding. So concerned to the interior and exterior of the earth related to the descriptions given at chapter 1 about the introductory. As the editorial of the chapter, it is clear that resources and concern to the developmental steps. We are already know before as about the natural geography, resources are the indispensable part of our living and all about the floras and faunas for the balancing of the ecosystem, those carried out the work as about the concern to the resources. A related chapter indicate as meaning of resources. It is clear that resources are those which found in our environment, our surrounding, have capacity to fulfill our need. There are three types of the resources. First who became as natural, second one as human, and third one as human-made resources. Natural resources are those which found in our surrounding, which occurred by the act of the nature. So concerned to the natural resources related matter, it is clear that resources begin with the nature as rock, minerals, biotic and abiotic both. Human resources considered as a skill of human being or the creativity of human being, those be carried out by human skill through the training, education and other upliftmental steps, vocational education and others. Next to the human-made resources considered as machine, building, vehicles and the different type of the equipments, monuments and others, artifact and others with the help of the human skill. So that all the about the resources which will be carried out about the descriptions as importance of resource. It is quite necessary to understand about the student after the meaning of resources as about the requirement of resource. Requirement of resources constitute two. First one aesthetic values, second one social values, and third one economical feasibility of the resources are required for the knowing about the betterment of resources in our surrounding. Next to the things as significance or importance of resources, also quite clear that first one as resources help to the survival of the biotic organism. Resources also helpful to the earning and expenditure. Resources provide the connectivity between the world. Resources help to the better employment opportunity. Resources also helpful to the stability of an economy. And last one as a consequence, apart from resource, no one can live. So resources helpful as about the indispensable form of our livelihood, so that significance of resources became clear. Now, on the basis of the resources can be classified between the different. Like on the basis of the origin, resources are classified between biotic and abiotic resources. Biotic resources are those who became as found in our surrounding as those resources have life on them. जिस रिसोर्सेस में जीवन हो, ऐसे रिसोर्सेस जो फ्लोराज एज ए प्लांट किंगडम, फौनाज एज ए एनिमल किंगडम, both are also considered as biotic resource. Abiotic resources are those where the dependency of biotic resources likely to the minerals, rocks and others, those led to the abiotic resources. But biotic and abiotic resources are indispensable to each other, interdependent to each other, intermingled to each other. It is quite clear. Then after, on the basis of the exhaustibility, resources are classified between two groups, one who renewable resource and another who non-renewable resource. Renewable resources are those which found in our surrounding, which can be renewed after the use by the technical, physical, mechanical and the others way of the utilization of resources. Next to the non-renewable resources are those like fossil fuels which use once after that exhausted. Once they use, after that exhausted. This considered as about the fossil fuel like the petroleum, natural gas, electricity, coal, etc. Next, on the basis of the ownership, resources can be classified between individual, community resource, national resource and international resource. Individual resources are those which owned and managed by the private individual, likely to the own machinery, own building, own patch of land, own pond and others. Next, about the community resources are those who owned and managed by the community in a particular area, so that related to the community resource, likely to the library, public library, burial ground, playground and so on, street light and others, those who found as a community as about the particular. Next to the national resources are those who owned and managed by the nations. Concerned to the nations, related resources referred about the under the boundary line resources like the forest, minerals and others. International resources are those who owned and managed by the global organization called UNO, and UN managed and permitted the resources as seas, oceans and others beyond the boundary line in a particular nation. Those considered as international resource. Now, on the basis of the status of development, resources also classified between four groups. First one, potential resources. Second one, actual or developed resources. Third one, stock, and fourth one, reserves. First, as on the basis of a status of development, potential resources are those which have potential to satisfy human being, but due to negative factor they can't be used today. Likely to the wind and the solar power have capacity to fulfill human need, but due to negative factor which can't be used today, considered as potential resources. Next to the actual and the developed resources are those who surveyed by the human being through the geological survey, through the statistical survey, and so on. But due to the negative factor, due to the lack of technology, we can't use today, likely to the particular area where the different type of the potential about the resources considered. Third one, as about the stock, water became as compound, have combination of the oxygen and hydrogen, both are most important for our livelihood, but due to the negative factor we can't use today. So those water which found in a particular area have capacity but can't be used, called stock. Part of the stock or subset of a stock considered as reserve in a particular area where the particular forest, particular minerals, those became as scarce, which became reserved by the government for future use. So those resources can't be used today. This type of resources considered as the reserve. So all are about the classification of the resources. It is clear that better understand all about the student of standard 8 considered as different type of the development. Next topic according to your syllabus or the chapter indicate about the environment, related to the environment which found in our surrounding, have subdivided also as about the biotic and abiotic component. Biotic and abiotic both are the combination of totality of environment, and totality of environment led to the sustainability, and sustainability led to the continuation of ecosystem, ecology. Next things given as about the chapter, it is clear that the natural, human and human made resource as about the different type of the classification. Next topic indicate as about the reasons to depletion of resources. Resource depletion considered as deterioration of resources in everyday life. Why deterioration? Due to the natural and human acts. Natural acts likely to the nature who carried out the act as about the different type of the earthquake, volcano, landslides, and so on, about the acts of the nature which led to the depletion of resources. Human being also carried out the depletion of resources due to the indiscriminate utilization, illegal utilization of resources for the everyday requirement. This type of the depletion led to the human concern to the depletion, which also led to the depletion in everyday life of the resources, became as a reasons to depletion of resources. Now let us about the ways to conservation of resources also given. First one as about the planned and systematic utilization of resources. Second one about the proper controlling of the everyday act of the human being, proper controlling or the systematic utilization of human acts, systematic utilization of the ecosystem and other things, afforestation, terrace farming, strip cultivation and so on, way which led to the conservation of the resources, way to conservation of resources. Next topic indicate about the sustainable development, those decided by Earth Summit through the world nations for the SAVE program of the earth as a saving of the earth program. Some about the Earth Summit will be decided all over the world, and according to that, in Brazil, Rio de Janeiro 1992, one of the Earth Summit where the 21 program will be decided by the world nations. Accordingly, to save the earth, to save environment, to control ozone layer depletion, to control global warming, acid rain, greenhouse effect, and so on, we carried out according to the sustainability of development. Those programs led to the use of renewable resources instead of non-renewable one, for the continuation of generation, for the protection of our environment, and for the planned utilization of resources. Next topic given as about the chapter objective of sustainable development also given. Sustainable development related objective also given. The chapter who indicate about the protection of our environment, continuation of the generation, and the use of renewable resources instead of non-renewable one. Last one as the physical and biological environment will be balanced with the help of the act of human being as well as the controlling of natural act. Some about the question as a consequence of the lesson likely to the meaning of resources, importance or significance of resources, classification of the resources related to the differences between the biotic and abiotic resources, differences between renewable and non-renewable resources, differences between individual and community resources, national and international resources, differences between the potential and developed resources, differences between the stock and the reserve, and some about the reasons to the depletion of resources, ways to the conservation of resources, meaning of sustainable development and objective of sustainable development. That's all. Thank you.